All right, take two. I got a phone call as soon as I started recording. The wife and kids went and got a hotel room so they could rent out the pool. So I'm getting ready to run off to work because got a pretty bad snowstorm coming, it looks like. So I'm going to go in and get that going. But I want to do a quick video because I haven't been able to do one this week, mostly just because I did things during the break times I normally do it. And then at night I haven't really done it because I'm playing games. So here's a video. I want to talk a little bit about the huge sale going on with Microsoft right now and where I think the Surface line is going, especially with the Duo. It's $400 off at Best Buy. And then you have the cheapest prices yet for the i3 tablet bundle and the 256 i5 laptop, which is $100 cheaper than normal at $899. What I'm really hoping, and I said this before during the last sale, but this sale's deeper. What I'm really hoping is that one of two things is happening, and most likely both. They're trying to get rid of stock because they're available, because they have stock coming of the new products, or they're trying to get aggressive because of the growth of the competition, and they really need to move the products while they can and make sure that people are buying Windows instead of the alternatives, and getting the things like the Surface Duo into the hands of prosumers, business people, as Scary Little calls it, the pocket PC that was originally supposed to be running a specific kind of version of Windows. And I actually switched over to my phone, my OnePlus, yesterday because I've been carrying the Duo around for a couple weeks now, and I'm so busy at work, I'm really scared to break it again. And I used the case on it. I was carrying the case on it, just got tired of it. So I'm going to go back to it today, right after I actually make this video, and literally go back to just carrying it around like this. I really need to think about putting a screen protector on it, but if you can see there, the battery, this scares me. I still need to figure out where I can get it fixed here in Western New York. I keep telling myself to do some research on that, and I haven't. But I need to get that fixed, obviously, because it's not actually my phone. Hopefully, maybe it'll stay my phone if I keep performing so well at work. But right now, it's not. But in general, with the Z coming later this year, I'm really hoping that they work on the bezel and the hinge. Now, obviously, the cases that I had would not fit on it because there's literally just no room. All you can do is a bumper. And the bumper's so thin, it really doesn't do much. It would have saved my phone from what happened to it. But in most cases, screen down like this, it's most likely going to crack. What I would like to see, and I've seen these on devices before, I just can't remember where I saw it, but if the hinge would kind of just move just slightly, so that way when you close it, it's like this. Maybe it's got like a not really hydraulic, but like a spring load, where that when you move it like this, it kind of slightly lifts and extends in the hinge here. Okay, that way you can put a super thin case on it, and then the case will go around it. And it can feel when that's being done, like almost like an extra hinge on top of the hinge. That way it doesn't do it if I do it this way, but if I have a case on it, it'll clamp. It's turning on right now, it's trying to tell me something. The other thing I want to talk about is specs. Obviously specs really do not matter. I've talked about this before. I personally want to see them use the new Exynos process from Samsung that they're co-designing with AMD. I think that is the future. That's going to be the hard hit to the competition and things like Qualcomm. I know AMD is supposed to be coming out with their own ARM SoC later this year. It's probably going to end up being what's in the 10th gen consoles, maybe even compete with NVIDIA with the Switch Pro. I doubt that's going to happen because then I think they have to recode everything. But it would be nice if that happened. I mean, the growth of handheld PCs and gaming devices for the emulators and stuff like that has definitely grown. If you follow ETA Prime and a couple of the other people, there's so many different devices out there that are trying to emulate the Switch Lite design or even the Switch design, but be emulators or even PC gaming, and maybe that's the next step. And that's actually something we can really look forward to with the Surface Neo, which was the next thing I want to talk about. Hopefully it's coming out this year, but I would highly doubt it's a 2021 release with all the delays and everything. I really want to see Microsoft continue to focus on things I've said before. The Pro, slimming the bezel, giving it more of the look of the Pro X, while going a little bit heavier, either 11th gen Intel, but preferably Ryzen 5 7-watt design, which is faster than a 10th or 11th gen and much more power efficient. It's going to get them a lot closer to that the competitors look. They really need to make sure that AMD Ryzen is their focus point. They don't even put stickers on their devices anyways. Most people have no idea what's in them. And then the people that do, I need the this, that, they don't even know what they're talking about. I was helping a kid at work yesterday, getting RAM. I said, what processor do you have? He said, I think it's the i6. I'm like, people don't know what they really have on their computers. So ideally, it's all about performance. These companies need to stop talking about the hardware on the inside, talk about the workflow, which is something I teach at work all the time. The workflow. How easy is it to work? How often do I have to charge it? How good is the screen? How easy is it going to break? How long is it going to last? Can I upgrade the RAM and the hard drive? Hard drives need to be upgradable. You need to slim the bezels on the laptops, which they won't do this time, but maybe next time, because all the leaks show it's the exact same body. Again, they need to go to 3700 megahertz RAM speed, base of 256 gigs of storage, 12 gigs of RAM preferably, but if they go to 3700 or even 4200, which I've seen in some of the designs with 8 gigs, and sell the baseline 256 for $899 and keep the same body and expand the colors. They need to do what the competition has done and expand that baseline $899 price with a couple more colors. It's 256 gigs of storage, jump to 512 at the $1299 to $1199 price point. RAM and hard drives are cheap. They should be $50 to $100 cheaper than the competition because Microsoft's making money when you use the device, just like Google and the other companies do. When you use the device, they're making money between advertisers using their software. And other than that, the other thing, which I'll actually probably do a separate video on, especially considering I gotta get going to work here, is talking about Microsoft 365 as an ecosystem. I'm really tired of the Google ecosystem, the other ecosystems. Well, we need to stay in the same ecosystem. I was talking to somebody yesterday that was buying, jumping over the fence from having a Surface Book 2. And I'm like, you're really downgrading. And her friend was like, well, no, she's not. She's already in this ecosystem and she doesn't really need the other device. What's wrong with the device she already has? They had no answer for that. So a lot of people are getting tricked into downgrading their devices to baseline versions of the competition right now with less specs, regardless of what these weird reviews say. I see these things day to day. The Surface line is my top recommendation as a person that sells these things, has to deal with training and returns and all the issues that happen. People need to stick with it, and Microsoft needs to figure out how to make Microsoft 365 their focus point, and that the Surface line, the Windows line, and all the competitors, including Google and the rest, can be used in that. Because a lot of people think that you have to have the same operating systems to have an ecosystem, and Microsoft has the largest ecosystem on planet when it comes to software. I mean, maybe Google's competing with them when it comes to the AI side and Android phones and stuff like that. But if you're looking purely on the laptop, you can use Microsoft 365 on anything pretty much, aside from Linux, which I think there's mods for that as well, which I'm going to work on since that's what I've been using lately. Microsoft 365 is an ecosystem, so they need to start building that. I'm actually working on trying to get my reps to design something for me to have at work so I can kind of talk about that, how the Microsoft's competition doesn't offer great backup, especially with Google Photos changing in June, and the other people only offering 5 gigs for free and then $1 for 50 gigs. 50 gigs is nothing. I mean, the baseline, most of these baseline premium phones are 64 to 128 gigs of storage, and people just, no matter how easy it is, they just don't understand how to back up and clean their phones. So they need to just have sell Microsoft 365, right? Have companies like I work for set it up for them, include it in some type of service, or even just have it on, pay these companies to have it on there, and then have 365 automatically back up their photos, their apps, cross between Microsoft, Google, or any of the other competitors, and let all that work. Stop looking at Microsoft 365 as a yearly version of Office and look at it as an ecosystem that includes your 1 terabyte OneDrive backup of everything, your to-do list, their version of Maps. There's so many things in there, and people need to understand there's a lot of competition other than Pages, Google Docs. The king is still Microsoft, and Microsoft 365 is showing that. And what they're not doing is they're saying like, oh, with Microsoft 365, you can use it on all these devices. No. Stop that. How do people back up and secure their devices, switch between devices without losing anything, upgrade yearly or bi-yearly as it's going now with phones, and still make sure they're not losing anything? And then they need to be able to tier that. Say Microsoft 365 with 1 terabyte, and then may pay an extra $5 and have a 2 terabyte model. Or, hey, look, for $99, which is the price of the family. So if somebody's really smart, they can be like, okay, for $30 more, I'm technically going to 6 terabytes if I just make more than one Microsoft account and share it with the household. Like my house is, me and my wife, and then I have a almost 15-year-old son who could use that. And then, the other kids are years away from needing any devices. But as that comes in, I can add them to that device. Obviously, I should look at other households with older people in the house, college students, stuff like that. Microsoft 365 is the way to go. So just a recap, a new hinge on the Surface Duo Z is more important than anything. Forget the specs. Go with the 865, go with the 888, whatever it is. It's probably gonna be 865 plus or something like that. All those other specs. Fix the bezeling. Think about the camera side of it. I was thinking about in-screen fingerprint scanner, but on the side it's fine. The only thing is, if I want to take, this is great for taking selfies, but we're taking other pictures, because here's the thumb. If I have it this way, I have to switch it, tap, and go that route, which actually that worked really well compared to what it has been. Maybe that's what come the update. Anyways, Ryzen-based Surface Pros. Go to the design of the Pro X. Maybe not this time, but the next time around. More battery life, more performance, less heat. Let's get this going. Prioritize Microsoft 365. Talk ecosystem, Microsoft. All right, everybody. If you made it this far, remember, I really appreciate you. You're wonderful. You're beautiful. Let's talk about it in the comment section what you guys think. Check out the comment section how you can support the channel and how you can follow my Twitter page. Again, have a great day. Be safe, and I'll see you next time.